If you're an entrepreneur with global ambitions, you've probably asked yourself the big one. Should I build my dream business in the US or should I go to Canada? Now, on the surface, this feels like a simple choice, right? You're just weighing markets and taxes. But it's not. This is a decision that can literally define your family's entire future. And today, we're going to break down why so many people get this dangerously wrong. So this is the conversation that happens all the time. You're successful, you're smart, you are ready to make a big move. You look at these two powerhouse countries in North America, and you start comparing the features, almost like you're buying a car. But what if I told you that by asking this very question, you're already starting on the wrong foot? See, the Canadian C-11 and the US E-2, they aren't just similar products from different brands. They are fundamentally different tools, designed for completely different jobs. And treating them like they're the same is the first big mistake. The second is not getting this one core idea. If you can just grasp this one concept, everything else is going to fall right into place. I want you to think of it this way. One of these visas is a pathway. It's a bridge that's specifically designed to lead you to a permanent future. The other, it's a destination. It's an island where, yeah, you can stay for a very, very long time, but you're never, ever truly home. All right, so let's take this bridge versus island metaphor and translate it into what it actually means for your business and, more importantly, for your family. This is the absolute core of this whole explainer. Here's how it really frames the decision. On one side, you have Canada's C-11 visa. Think of this as a temporary work permit that is a structured, intentional bridge to permanent residency. And on the other side, you've got the US E-2, a renewable visa that basically keeps you on an island of temporary status, potentially forever. The Canadian C-11 isn't some happy accident. It is a deliberate strategy. The Canadian government wants you to succeed. The plan is you come, you run your business for about 12 to 18 months, and that success makes you eligible for programs that lead directly to an invitation for permanent residency. It's a clear A to B to C pathway. Now, in stark contrast, the E-2 is legally what's called a non-immigrant visa, and that is not just legal jargon, okay? It means that by law, you must always maintain an intent to depart the US. There is zero, and I mean absolutely zero, direct path from an E-2 visa to a green card. You could be there for 20 years, run a massive company, and legally, you're still just a temporary visitor. So now that we've got the core concept down, bridge versus island, let's put these two visas head to head on the things that really, really matter, starting with the one that might just make the decision for you instantly. First up, this is an absolute filter: your nationality. The Canadian C-11 is open to entrepreneurs from basically anywhere in the world, but the US E-2? Nope. It is strictly limited to citizens of about 80 specific treaty countries. So if you're from a powerhouse nation like India, China, Brazil, or Russia, for example, well, the decision's already been made for you. The C-11 is your only option here. Okay, let's talk about the money. The philosophies here could not be more different. Canada's C-11, believe it or not, has no set minimum investment. What they care about is one thing. Is your business plan credible, and is it funded enough for what you're trying to do? The US E-2, on the other hand, requires a substantial investment. We're usually talking over $100,000, and that money must be at risk. That means it's spent and irrevocably committed before you even know if your visa is approved. That is a huge gamble. Next, you got to ask, what does each country really want from you? Canada wants to see a significant benefit. So think job creation, bringing in new technology, or maybe developing a specific region. The US wants a non-marginal business, which is just a fancy way of saying it has to have real growth potential and generate more than just a basic living for you and your family. So up until now, we've really been talking about business and legal strategy, but now we need to talk about the human cost, because hidden inside the legal code of the E-2 visa is a ticking time bomb that can have absolutely devastating consequences for your family. First, the good news. For your spouse, both of these visas are fantastic. They get an open work permit in Canada or employment authorization in the US, which lets them work for pretty much any employer they want. It's one of the few areas where these two are actually quite similar. But for your children, the difference is night and day. It is worlds apart. This is the heartbreaking reality of the E-2 island. I want you to imagine this. You arrive with your 15-year-old. They go to a US high school, they make friends, they can do a great US university. For all intents and purposes, they feel American. Then on their 21st birthday, poof, Their legal status simply vanishes. After they graduate, their only real hope is to win the H-1B visa lottery, which has odds of around 25%. If they lose, they are forced to leave the only country they really know as home. Remember this number, 21. It's the age when the American dream for an E-2 family can turn into an absolute nightmare, a crisis that arrives with mathematical certainty. It's not an if, it's a when. And this right here is the power of the bridge. With the C-11 path to permanent residency, this crisis simply doesn't exist. It's completely avoided. By the time your child is college-aged, your family will most likely have PR status. Their future in Canada is secure. They can study, they can work, they can build a life without this terrifying deadline looming over their heads. Okay, so we've identified the critical differences, especially that gut-wrenching family crisis. So how do you make the right strategic choice for you? Well, here is a clear, actionable framework to help guide your decision. Here is your 4-step process. It's simple. First, check your nationality. If you're not from a treaty country, well, the choice is made. Second, define your ultimate goal. Do you want permanent residency? Yes or no? Third, assess your family. How old are your kids? And fourth, evaluate your business. Does it fit Canada's significant benefit model, or is it more of a US high-growth model? So, who is the C-11 really for? It's for you if your number one non-negotiable goal is permanent residency. It's definitely for you if you have children anywhere between, say, 10 and 18, and you want to completely avoid that age-out crisis. And it's a fantastic fit if your business has elements of innovation or social good that really align with Canada's policy goals. And when does the E-2 island actually make sense? Well, it can work if you are genuinely okay with having temporary status indefinitely. It can also work if your children are very young, which gives you more time, or if they're already adults. And finally, it's an option if your business model absolutely critically requires access to the US market and you are willing to accept all the trade-offs we've talked about. So we come right back to our central idea. The C-11 is a bridge. It was explicitly designed to get you from your temporary work permit to the permanent shore. The E-2 is an island. It can be a great place to stay, a wonderful place to do business, but it is structurally disconnected from the mainland of permanent residency. And here is the really uncomfortable truth. The fact that the E-2 visa can be renewed over and over again creates this powerful illusion of permanence. You build a life, you pay your taxes, you feel settled in your community, but legally, you're always just a visitor. And this is the trap that so many families don't see until it's just too late. Ultimately, this isn't a choice you make with spreadsheets and market size data. It comes down to a much, much deeper question. Are you just building a business, or are you building a future? The answer to that question tells you everything you need to know.